Okay, gang, welcome to Wines of the Week. Joining us is the Gramsam Ariana Suchia.
Cheers.
Today's topic is Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir and the many different varieties of Pinot Noir, but you specifically like, correct me if I'm wrong, lighter styles of Pinot specifically with food?
Well, I think that in warm climates like Hawaii, I'm not always hankering for a big, heavy, opulent wine. It's too hot for those kind of wines. And when they're too high in alcohol, it's too much. I want something that's more refreshing, something that's more uplifting, something that's more, brightening. And then when you consider that, we have so many Asian-inspired foods here, whether it's ethnic hole-in-the-walls or it's all these high-end, fancy, accoladed chefs, there's a lot of Asian-inspired food. So you see far more frequently saltiness and sweetness and spiciness in the food.
Yeah.
We need to think lighter, so it's not as confrontational with those kind of foods.
They're not fighting head-to-head.
So,
yeah.
What the problem with this, the biggest challenge with all of this is that if you look at the major wine media, all the wines that they score high are these big hedonistic styles of Pinot Noir. High octane, more oak, higher alcohol. I'm not saying that's bad.
It's a different time and place.
It's just a different style of Pinot, and maybe I like to look for those that are more made intentionally lighter, more elegant, more refined, more civil, more balanced. More like whispering as opposed to yelling.
I think what our viewers want to know is that just because a wine, Pinot Noir specifically, is light, it doesn't mean it's weak.
Right.
There is still a lot going on in that glass, right?
Yes, exactly. And I hope to show you through these two wines. So the first wine on your left.
On my left.
Is the Alit. This is from Oregon.
Okay.
This is a project of our friend Mark Tarloff from Chapter 24.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I can't remember his other project now.
Alit, and specifically from Willamette.
Yes, and so is Chapter 24 and his other one, I can't remember the name of it right now, they're the award winnings. They're $65 to $150 a bottle.
Wow.
And they get all the high scores and everything, and deservedly so, while still having elegant. He has a superstar French wine consultant helping him. Well, Alit is the one that he would serve at his dinner table. It's more casual. It's lighter. It's more about deliciousness and
his
food
answer to
friendliness.
let's be friendly. Let's all hang out with a bottle of wine. Okay.
But still, it brings into the discussion of what Oregon has to offer as well. So
absolutely.
This is really good winemaking and really good grape sources.
It smells rosy.
At a more reasonable price. I bought this at Arfield Wine Company in Kailua, and I paid $22.95 for this bottle.
Wow. And so for me, especially coming off of when we're talking about these really big opulent styles of Pinot, showcasing something like this that still has a specific heftiness without being showy is just, it has all the qualities and the nuances that I like, but it's light, it's fresh, it's not overbearing on my palate.
It's more transparent. It's so pretty. It's about prettiness and loveliness. That's what this wine is.
It's elegant.
And look how seamless it is. Look how suave it is from beginning to end. It's so complete, and it's got such deliciousness and approachability, and it's so enjoyable. At $22.95 a bottle, I think this is a steal. It's hard to find well-priced Pinot Noir nowadays, at least good ones. So I think this is one to look for.
What should people look for in Oregon Pinots that's in this glass right now specifically?
Well, the fruit is seemingly more tart. And when I mean tart, I mean like instead of cherry, sour cherry. Or cranberry or things like that to me. It's got more lift. It's got more...
buoyancy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So very buoyant, a little bit more like lean minerality, you would say. Yeah? Okay.
In this case, yes. But still lovely and delicious. It's so gracious and graceful. It's such a pretty
especially
thing.
on the nose, like I said, roses. I'm getting like a very nice bouquet of fresh roses.
Yeah, I think it's really pretty stuff, and it's very delicious. I think a lot of people would like that wine. And $22.95.
Thinking about food pairing, specifically with Oregon Pinots?
Yeah, you could do the roast chicken, you could do pizza. This wine is... Again, like I said, Mark Tarloff, this is the one he would drink at his dinner table.
Okay.
So he would have it with a whole myriad of different foods, right?
And it kind of fits a lot of different people's preferences as well.
Absolutely.
if everyone's ordering different things at a restaurant, maybe you go with this light style
Absolutely.
Pinot. I like that. That's a really good trick for hosting, especially. So we're traveling a little bit more down south now to California.
Yes.
Specifically, even more south to Santa Barbara.
And specifically the Santa Maria Valley.
Awesome. What is this wine, Chuck?
Okay, so this is the CF. And it's just something that we exclusively blend for the DK restaurants. You know, it's very intentional in what it is. So as you know, in terms of the DK restaurants, you know, we have a lot of Asian-inspired foods. Mm-hmm. So we have the Sanseis, we had Hiroshi Eurasian Tapa. So, you know, almost all of our restaurants were Asian-inspired. So again, salty, spicy, slightly sweet foods. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to wines, it's hard to find, for your staples, for your core of your wine program, it's hard to find wines of a certain quality, right, to deliver at a certain price with availability all year round. So that's why we went out and created. We partnered with certain winemakers, and each one was intentional. The 3 from Germany are all former winemakers of the year. They're all different. There's the dry, there's a medium dry, there's a slightly sweet wine. They're all intentionally, you know.
So I have to ask Chuck, is this intentionally umami? Because I get a lot of umami in this wine, and I love it. I love umami, and I think you're saying all these things about, you know, DK restaurants and that savory, Asian-inspired foods. That's what's really singing me through in this specific wine.
Yeah, I think this wine is so darn good. So just to give you some history on this wine, well, let's talk about it first. So when you smell it, it's not just cherry, cherry, cherry.
No, right off the bat, I mean this in the most endearing way. There's a lot of funk there. There's like a lot of earthiness. There's a lot about soils and maybe even mushrooms. Like, I'm really getting a lot out of this wine as well.
Yeah, and it's got like a seaweed character that comes because this vineyard is all sand.
Oh, okay.
So it has that seaweed. That's where you get the umami.
That's
from.
where I'm getting the umami.
So this vineyard is up on a mesa. Off the ground. It's like 200 feet elevation, something like that, 150 feet elevation. And it's 5 minutes closer, 10 minutes closer to the ocean than the Bienacido vineyard. And so the wind just pounds this mesa because it's close to the ocean. It just pounds it. You look at the vines, they're all tilted like this because of the strong influences of the wind, the coastal winds. This is an old heirloom heritage vine called Martini. So most people poo-poo Martini because it's not showy, it's not flamboyant, it's not snazzy.
But it's not trying to be.
No.
Yeah.
You got to coax it out of the glass. You got to keep swirling it. You know, it wants to be.
It has a lot to offer, though. Yeah.
And if you look, these vines were planted in 88, 1989, 1990. So they're how many years is that? 30 years old?
I'm not a math major.
Nah. So
that wasn't a joke. I am really not good at math.
So the point is, these are old vines, especially for California. So this wine also has vinosity. So if you look at the core, other wine seems more simple now.
I think that once again, we go back to this idea of time and place. You know what I mean? Like, there's just on my left, the lit, it's very, very seamless. It's very balanced. It's almost without flaw. But on my right, I have this savoriness. I have this specific, rustic, but still very specific quality to it that I think both are beautiful. And who would have thought that Pinots, with their wide gambit of full and light styles, even within that, having light Pinots being completely different. That's really amazing.
I'm not trying to say I prefer one wine or the other. I'm just trying to explain. Yeah. The one on the right has more vinosity, more complexity from the old vines.
Yep.
It has more soil.
Yeah.
Soil-driven characteristics.
Earthy, yeah.
And but it's minerality. And that minerality not only makes the wine interesting, but it also creates more buoyancy in the wine. So where the other one has the sour fruit, this one just has that minerality from the sand, that ocean influence. So that's why you have more lift in the wine.
So then I have
it's
to
just
ask,
night and day. It's just two different styles of wine.
What do you pair with wine number 2 then, Chuck?
Well, the other thing I love about this wine is that it has deliciousness. You know, and it's just so tasty and, you know, elegant and refined, and it's also very gulpable. So I think you can have it with a wide range of foods, just like the last wine. So that's what it was intentionally made for, was to have, because if you look at the Sanseis, you look at Hiroshi, you look at Vino, all the different restaurants we have, it's a whole myriad of a matrix of different kinds of foods and cooking styles. So that's why we crafted this wine, so they would go with all kinds of foods.
That's awesome. I think that we've learned a lot today, because not only do Pinots offer a wide array, but they also are food friendly if you just are willing to experiment. So with that being said, I would urge everyone to go out and search for your new favorite Pinot. Specifically, my two new favorites are, once again, Alit from Oregon. And you bought this one at also
Arfield Kailua.
And there's also the CF Pinot Noir coming out of Santa Barbara, specifically Santa Maria. And where can I find this one?
So I bought this at Arfield Kailua, but I also bought a bottle from Arfield Aina 3 days ago.
Awesome.
There you go.
Go out and find it, your new favorite.
Oh, the CF Pinot was $25.95. So well priced.
Good deal. I'll buy it.
So thank you for watching. Until next time, aloha everybody.